Hello everyone, Spencer here from FiniteCards, and today I'll be bringing you my deck profile based around the new Tanuki monsters that came out in Shadow Specters. So let's jump right into the monster lineup. First we are running 2 Ojama Green, 2 Ojama Yellow, 2 Ojama Black, 1 Ojama Red, and 3 Ojama Blue. Now, this engine is very useful because you can set an Ojama Blue, and that allows you to search likely for your Ojama Red or other Ojamas, allowing you to make your Ojama Red plays, which is one of the main plays in the deck, where you normal summon your Ojama Red, and then you can special summon up to 4 Ojama monsters from your hand in attack position. That allows you to go into multiple number 64, allowing you to do many shenanigans since number 64, as Brad said in our set overview video of these cards, protect each other since you have 2 on the field. Next we have 3 Ponpoko. It's a great first turn and top deck card, and allows you to bring out Nimble Momonga for potential life point gain, or Ojama Blue to get more Ojamas to your hand. You can also bring out this guy, Tanuki Tauntaun. Tanuki Tauntaun basically does the same thing as Ponpoko, except in a slightly slower way. I might add a second one, I'm not sure on that, I'm still testing out this deck. But he will allow you to special summon a level 2 beast-type monster from your deck. Usually I like to summon Ojama Blue again, but it's also possible to summon Nimble Momonga or any other Ojama. I wouldn't really summon Ponpoko with this, simply because you wouldn't be using Ponpoko to his fullest ability, and he wouldn't get his special summon since his ability only works when he's normal summoned. Next we have Nimble Momonga, likely brought out through Ponpoko, but is also a great first turn set, because it basically gives you 1,000 life points, because your opponent is likely to attack into it, and it gives you 2 more Nimble Momongas, which will likely give you the ability to summon a rank 2, likely number 64, during your next turn. I'm also running 1 Yellow Baboon, Archer of the Forest. This is a really great card in the deck, I think, because it doesn't cost you any life points. You only have to remove 2 beast-type monsters from your grave, and it gives you a 2600 beater on the field for your tokens to copy the attack of. And finally, for our monster lineup, we have Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit is essentially just in there to summon 2 Ojamas and go into a number 64, since that is basically what I try to do with this deck, get out number 64 as much as possible, since it's such an awesome card. Likely I try to keep like 2 Ojama Yellow in the deck at all times, just to always keep Rescue Rabbit viable. And that's it for our 19 monsters. So let's move on to spells. First we have Heavy Storm. Heavy Storm is mostly used in my deck like early in the duel, or if I want to activate my own Starlight Road to get out of Stardust. But I figured it was useful just to get rid of, like, first turn, if I draw it, get rid of my opponent's back row if I'm going second. So it's pretty useful. Next is Dark Hole. It's pretty simple, it destroys all my opponent's monsters on the field. Very useful. Monster Reborn. Mostly I use this to disrupt my opponent's plays. I get some monster that's vital to their strategy out of their graveyard and onto my field, or possibly a level 7 out of their deck to make a rank 7 Xyz. As far as draw power goes in the deck, I have 1 Pot of Avarice. Pot of Avarice is really useful to recycle my Ojamas, or potentially my Nimble Momongas, and it's also useful to recycle my number 64 Sandayu the Vetanukis. I'm also running 2 Pot of Duality. It's a really good card to search out for your traps to protect yourself, or for Card Trader. Speaking of Card Trader, I run 1 of it. It is the MVP of this deck, I'd like to say, because it's so useful. It gets me any card I need as long as it stays on the field. It has gotten me out of a lot of jams. Just if I have only 2 Ojama Yellows in the deck, and I draw an Ojama Yellow, I can put it back into the deck with Card Trader and keep Rescue Rabbit viable, which is really nice. Next, I run 2 Solidarity. Solidarity is an amazing card in this deck as well. If you only have 2 Sandayu on the field, they'll have 1800 attack with Solidarity. And then you can summon 1 token with your first Sandayu. That'll get the 1800 attack from the Sandayu if it's the highest monster on the field. Plus, it'll get an additional 800 attack from Solidarity, which is great, especially since when you summon your second token, it'll have an additional 800 on top of that. So stacking attack happens a lot in this deck, and it's really useful to get over your opponent's monsters. And finally, we have Try Right. This is really great mid to late game because you can special summon your Ojamas back from the graveyard and go into a number 96 or a number 64 if you still have one left. And really, it's kind of a game changer at some points in the duel. And that's it for our 10 spells. Let's move on to our trap cards. We have 11 trap cards. First off, we have Horn of the Phantom Beast. This is mostly used to give 800 attack to your token. And then also when it attacks over your opponent's monster, since it now has 800 more attack, you get to draw a card, which is very useful. We have one Mirror Force. I've been playing around with the trap lineup quite a bit, but I decided on one Mirror Force because I like other traps better. But Mirror Force is still useful because it can destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters, which is really, really effective. I'm running 2 Starlight Road. Originally I was running 1, but with the addition of Safe Zone, and with all the continuous spells and traps that I have, especially Card Trader, I decided to run 2 for extra protection. Plus, it's always nice to get out a Stardust. Next, we have 2 Safe Zone. This is a really underrated card, I feel, and it works really well in this deck. One of the main uses is to protect your Tanuki tokens, since number 64 already protects itself from battle and card effects. Why not protect the token as well? Another use is to protect number 96, Dark Mist, because one of Dark Mist's lacking areas, I guess, one of its downfalls is that it is easily destroyed by card effects. Now you don't have that problem because you have Safe Zone on the field. As long as your opponent doesn't destroy it, which you have some negation, you have Dark Bribe, you have Starlight Road in this deck, so it's pretty good. Also, Safe Zone is a counter to your opponent's back row hate. If you haven't activated it yet and your opponent uses MST on your Safe Zone, if they have a face-up attack position monster, you can chain your Safe Zone and then that monster will be destroyed. So many uses for this card. It's really great in this deck. Next I have 2 Fiendish Chain. This is mostly used in this deck to negate my opponent's effects. If they're trying to get off a big play, or they're using some effect that's going to destroy or get a lot of monsters on their side of the field, Fiendish Chain. And also, if they have a high attack position monster that I don't want to attack into me and deal life points, Fiendish Chain, no problem anymore. And finally, we have 2 Dark Bribe. I run this over Mystical Space Typhoon simply because it negates anything. It can negate their Solemn Judgment after they've already paid their 1,000 life points. They get to draw a card, which is kind of a downside, but frankly, I don't see it as a problem. On to the extra deck, we are running 2 Stardust Dragon, of course for the Starlight Road. I'm running 1 Shining Elf. I haven't actually summoned this in the deck yet, but I figured it could be useful if my opponent summons a monster that is slightly stronger than my Tanuki token. I can use Shining Elf's ability, detach a material, make them lose 500 attack, and then potentially I'll have higher attack, and I won't have to worry about it. Next I run 2 Daigusto Phoenix. Mostly I use this when my opponent doesn't have any monsters on the field, so I can attack directly for 3,000 since it can attack twice, or 3,800 if I do also have a Gotchi on the field. Next I run 3 number 64, the main card in the deck. I always bring this out. It's always such a great card. I mean, usually you want to try to save them, but with the recycling ability of Pot of Avarice, it's not too much of a problem. I've only run into the problem where I haven't had one to use anymore once, so it's a great card. I summon it all the time. Not much more to say about it. I've already talked about the stacking token effect. They kind of build off, the tokens build off each other if you have multiple Sandayus out, and it helps beat over your opponent and get in for game. Next we have 1 Herald of Sacred Light. This is another recycling option. If you don't have a number 64, or you want to get perhaps your yellow baboon back from your graveyard, then what better way than use Herald of Sacred Light? It came out in Judgment of the Light, and you can add a target from your graveyard to your hand just by shuffling one card from your hand into your deck. Next we have 3 Gachi Gachi Gentetsu. A really great card in the deck. It also helps with the token stacking attack play that I mentioned previously. And it also helps create an extra protection layer for you. Next we have 2 number 96 Dark Mist. This card is mostly in the deck for fun, but it's such a great card, and with the combination with Safe Zone, it's pretty much invincible, and it can take your opponent's attack and keep attacking over them, and it gets to keep the attack permanently as long as it's, of course, not destroyed. And finally, we have a number 74. I only put this in the deck because of the possibility of making a rank 7 Xyz, since level 7s are common, and I have a yellow baboon Archer of the Forest in the deck. I can combine it with Monster Reborn at level 7, and make Master of Blades. Plus, Master of Blades has extra protection for the deck. As far as the side deck goes, these were just kind of cards that I added in at some point. I had them in the deck, I kind of took them out. I don't know what I'm going to add or take back out in the future, but feel free to leave your comments, suggestions in the comments below, and let me know what you think about the deck as a whole, or any changes you think I should make. Just let me know. And I will be showing off duels with this deck profile over the next couple days, one against Brad and one against a random opponent, so I do hope that you enjoy those as well. Anyway, I'll see you next time, guys, and remember to leave your comments below.